Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another episode of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And with me tonight, I have a very great, wonderful panel of guest critics tonight. We've got ladies first, Ericka A. Hey, Ericka.
Hey, Randy, glad to be here. It's
Yeah.
been so long. It's been almost 2 whole weeks.
I'm glad you're here, back in the seat there. Good. We've also got Mr. Matt Roren. Welcome back, sir.
It's always a pleasure.
And Mr. Thomas Pugliese. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
And I'm really loving the posters in the back. That's an awesome monument to horror cinema.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I just want to mention all those posters are autographed.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm kind of blown away by that, but that's pretty great. And last but not least, we've got Mr. Eric Godfrey joining us for the first time. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So it's relatively painless, except for the first movie we're going to review. As always, you know me, we do a very eclectic and diverse mix of movies. Tonight, the first film we're going to discuss is called Donny's Bar Mitzvah, which is a raunchy comedy. But after that, we will have more fun discussing Zack Snyder's Justice League, which took 4 years to finally bring to the fans after much protest. But we're glad it's finally here on HBO Max. But first off, guys, I just want to go around real quick. What have you been watching this week? What are your pandemic picks for this week? Eric?
Well, it's going to feel bad considering that we're getting a lead in for DC, but I am really looking forward to the new episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, can't wait.
So I hope I didn't give away a game of where my loyalties lie. But
No.
I had such a better time watching the first episode than I did watching any of the Justice League. I mean,
I
that
think
first
you and I might get
episode
along.
of the series already like 1,000 times better than anything Zack Snyder's ever touched.
And then also on that, I'm probably going to do a third rewatch of Ted Lasso because that first season is now like the greatest thing I've ever seen, and I can't get enough of that first season, which will probably lead me back to watching Scrubs again because I need some comfort food.
That's awesome. I've been hearing great things about Ted Lasso. It's definitely on my list. And
Perfect. 10 out of 10. Season 1 is amazing.
Really? So,
Yeah.
oh shoot, what's Ted Lasso? Sudeikis. Did he win? Was that a well-deserved win at the Golden Globes?
Very. Yeah. No, every award, every praise that the show has gotten, it's well-deserved. It's insane because it shouldn't work, and it does at every point.
Cool. All right. It looks a little bit like, it reminds me of like Eastbound and Down. Am I mistaken?
Sadly, I haven't watched that. Now I got HBO Max, I can, start getting caught up on a lot of the stuff I've missed there. But it's considering it's from the people who did Scrubs, it is very much in that same vein. But it's just, there is an optimism to this show that I've not seen in TV in a long time.
Huh. Good to know. Okay, cool. Mr. Pugliese, been a while. What have you been watching, sir?
Well, recently I've actually watched a couple of very obscure horror movies. Like I watched this one horror movie called Alone in the Dark, which actually stars some pretty good horror actors like the late Martin Landau, the late Donald Pleasance, and even the late Jack Palance.
Wow.
So pretty good cast. And I also did watch this other pretty cheesy one that was called Evil Laugh. But an interesting thing about that one is that it was directed by the actor who played Joey from Friday the 13th Part 5, who probably you know him as the chocolate bar guy. And also just recently I rewatched one of Clive Barker's movie, Lord of Illusions.
Scott Bakula, of course. Nice. Always, Thomas is our resident horror expert, so yeah, watch out for him.
Awesome.
How about you, Ericka? What have you been watching?
Oh, well, right now I guess I'll go to the newest things I've started watching. I started taking up the new show that's on Epic after Pennyworth called Condor, which ironically is we're going to talk about Jeremy Irons is starring Max Irons, his son.
Oh.
And it's a sort of British or US spy thriller about he's the guy who writes the software and the terrorist attack is coming, but it's actually might not be, it might be internal and they killed everyone in his agency. And so it's sort of a run, chase, almost Bourne kind of feel. Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, the Bourne franchise.
is Irons the villain or is he the hero?
No, he's the protagonist. He's the one who's on the run. I think Brendan Fraser is actually the villain, though we don't know for sure yet.
I would think it would be flipped. Okay.
I'm just so glad that Brendan Fraser is like back in action.
I know. I mean,
Yes.
he did okay in Doom Patrol in the series. I don't know if that still has new episodes to come.
Yeah, new season's coming out soon. They're
Hmm.
working on it now.
But yeah, he was hard to find for a long time, and now he seems to be back in it. I also took up a new show that started last night on Ovation, Crash.
Oh.
So that looked interesting. That's more of a cop buddy show.
Oh,
And
no.
I love my superhero stuff. I have the Arrowverse, which is probably playing right. Nope, not for another 20 minutes tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt that view.
I'll catch up.
Okay. Cool. As always, Ericka, your TV viewing is all over the place. I love it. And, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about any of the stuff we've already talked about in the past, like Equalizer on Channel 2, or Bull, or Prodigal Son, or any of the stuff on 13 that finished. I don't really have anything right now on there that I'm watching. And I mean, I still have stuff on cable. I rewatched a bunch of the DC animated movies in anticipation for Justice League. I watched a few of those. Mostly looked up the titles, what a few of them were called.
Okay. Yeah, and you're the resident
So we could
animated
watch
DC, and Ericka, you're the resident animated DC movie expert. So
Not quite
Okay.
well, I was gonna say not quite the movies for me, but more I was obsessed with Batman, Superman, Justice League, so I can
How about
definitely go on
Super
that one.
Friends?
The old Super Friends.
ooh.
Meanwhile, the halls of justice.
Meanwhile,
I'm
I'm
gonna turn into a pal.
Justice.
I used to love Super Friends.
But it isn't on here.
Goes-
I'm going
it's a
to
hoot.
say everyone should watch Challenge of the Super Friends or watch the one from the 80s, the Super
Superpowers.
Friends first greatest hero. Yeah.
The Superpowers team,
Power
the
team.
Galactic Guardians. Yes, I love it. 1985, I believe, 86. I was just 1 year old, but later in life, when I was a teenager, I was obsessed with that one spin-off, if you will, of Super Friends. So yeah, that was really cool. And I do have some of the action figures. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But let's get the painful. Oh, sorry, Matt Roren first before we get.
Just kicking around still. I've been just started watching season 4, the final season of 30 something. I've just been watching a lot of that lately,
Right.
and got through 4 seasons pretty quick, I guess.
That's pretty random, no? 30 is that owned by Disney or Touchstone?
Well, it's actually funny because I'm watching it because of the Disney thing, because they produced the show once and again, like later on in like the 2000s, or I think it was early 2000s. And one of the characters from that show is on it. So I decided I would watch this first, and I'd never seen it. And I honestly did not expect to like it, but I absolutely love it. I think it's an incredible show.
From the pictures you posted on Facebook, they definitely look like they're in their early to mid 40s.
But and then I actually looked it up, and I'm like, oh no, they were all like between 30 and 33 when they started the show, which is totally weird. I guess like the baby boomers just look old as hell.
And that was around the same time as Field of Dreams, right? Also Timothy Busfield?
Yeah, around the same time. Yep. Yeah, well, it's funny because you think about Revenge of the Nerds. I think Revenge of the Nerds 2 was like the same year that 30 something started, and he's playing a college student, but he's actually the right age in 30 something. But in Revenge of the Nerds 2, he's like 30 something playing like 19.
He's versatile.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. I like that stuff. I love the nostalgia. I love it. Anyway, all right, guys, let's get the painful stuff out of the way. We've got Donny's bar mitzvah, and I saw the trailer. Honestly, it looked decent. I was expecting like super bad caliber, but I was totally let down, as I imagine you guys are. And
it was definitely super bad.
It was. That should have been the title, just super space bad, because that's what it is. You're right. And guys, I'm so sorry. I must apologize, because this is one of the worst ever that I've subjected my critics to. And
Yeah. I
To
mean,
be fair,
like,
it was short.
Yeah, thankfully, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I haven't seen a comedy that bad since that movie we reviewed a while back, Jesus Rolls.
That was just, oh yeah. I don't know what's worse. They're probably equal, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like,
guys.
this movie kind of felt like it was like directed by those two directors of those parody movies.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the thing that really attracted me to this movie was the fact that they marketed as like a VHS that was uncovered from 1998, of this kid's bar mitzvah and all the crazy shenanigans. And if they went the route of like, nostalgia, showing off, like utilizing the VHS technology, the tracking, the blurriness, I think that would have been a much better way to handle this movie. But
If it was like a found footage movie, it probably would have been so much better.
Yeah, which they started out with. They did that where they literally show a
Barely.
person ramming it into the VHS. But then, like, I noticed, like, and then they started doing that with the stuff. But then, like, suddenly I've noticed we're switching between like 3 takes, and it's like, how you're supposed to be one camera, and it's like switching between 3 different things.
yeah, they kind of break the fourth wall in a weird way or something.
There's like 7
Yes.
walls.
Yeah.
If they broke all 7. I don't know.
Just is not worth watching.
multiple
It had a good
camera
idea in that it was a VHS tape, but as soon as it starts to play, you could just stop it right there.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, like I wanted to turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the main thing is if the script had better jokes, if the actors were a little bit more seasoned, I think this might have been a relatively decent comedy, kind of like an American Pie direct to video.
I guess it was written, directed, and probably starring. I'm sure that guy was in the movie, but it was like written, directed, produced by this one guy.
Right.
It's like
And no one ever bothered to tell him
like
or stop.
anyone at any point just say like no.
Yeah.
Like I like Danny Trejo is in some bad shit.
Yeah.
But this is like
But he couldn't even save it.
like man, like he must be just like working for like a I'll make you bacon if you be in my movie, because there's no way there was any budget in this movie for paying anyone.
They probably spend half or most of their budget on Trejo.
I would assume.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
To be fair, the
and
one
those thrilling special effects of his disguise.
the one chuckle, the one I had was the line Danny Trejo, professional actor. And I was like, and then that was it. Like that was the little under my breath giggle, and that was it.
Oh God. Thomas, see it or skip it?
Skip it, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, this is just so bad. Ericka, any final words for this one?
Yes, torpedo it, destroy it. No one should ever be forced to endure this movie. And you've picked some wretched things over the years, but this one was definitely up there.
It takes the cake.
No, I have sat through at least 3 things worse.
Okay. You remember what they were? I'm just curious.
The one about people whose heads turn into anuses.
Johnny's bar mitzvah.
No, it was literally called like fuckface or something. It was horrible.
Oh God.
And suddenly shit starts pouring out of where their mouths used to be.
I want to see this movie.
Yeah. I don't really remember this, but I'm gonna look for it and look at another show.
Okay,
now. Just
it
kidding.
was when you first started with Jim.
Oh wow,
It was
that's a while
the
back.
same. It was the same time as we did this horror movie that the only part I remember is the nail gun that Dan went off on. That he's like, that's not how a nail gun works. And I'm like, yeah, I knew that was going to be the first words out of your mouth.
Giant anuses?
Yes, their heads turn into giant anuses.
All right. We're
That
gonna
one was worse, and other things were worse. But this is bad. Whatever it's called, the bar mitzvah, that really has a lot of discrepancies. If it is a bar mitzvah, and it has nothing funny about it. Just torpedo it, destroy it, done.
It's bad. All right, let's move on, guys. We've got something more fun to talk about. All right, guys. So that is our first movie review, if you want to call it a movie. But we're actually going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with our second review of the evening right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6633.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And right now, we're going to go into comic book movie territory with the Snyder cut of Justice League, originally released in 2017. It was directed by Zack Snyder, but he had to bow out towards the end of the film because he had a personal tragedy. His daughter, I believe, had committed suicide at a pivotal moment of the filmmaking process. I believe it was post-production, and Joss Whedon had to swoop in and basically finish the film. That was back in 2017. We were presented with a decent movie, not a great movie. It clocked in at 2 hours, and it told the story of assembling the Justice League pretty well, but it was not the complete and final Snyder cut that we wanted, the Snyder version that everybody got just a few days ago on HBO Max. So, you know, I've always been a DC fan as long as I can remember. I used to draw little bat symbols and notebooks and stuff, and I had all the action figures. So, you know, it did take me a while to appreciate Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he's a better Bruce Wayne than a Batman. But yeah, this movie, I really thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the first one was fun, but this just upped the ante. Clocking it in at 4 hours, though, that's probably my only complaint, is the runtime being a little long, just a little. But yeah, overall, a fun movie to watch at home on HBO Max. Just curl up on the couch and press play and enjoy. So, guys, what do you think? Also, guys, we can do spoilers. I think we have a good group for spoilers. Typically, I don't like to move ahead with spoilers, but I figure anyone watching or listening to this will have seen it by now. Mr. Pugliese, sir, what did you think?
Well, I actually really did like this cut of the movie. I mean, I've always actually been a fan of Zack Snyder ever since his remake of Dawn of the Dead. I also really did like 300 and Watchmen, but he did downplay a bit when he made Sucker Punch. But like, you know, but I actually really did like this one. And it's probably his best DC movie he's done, because like, I mean, Man of Steel, like, you know, well, I did like it, but it wasn't his best. And same like with Batman vs Superman, like, well, that one, it's got a bit of like mixed opinions on that one. But like, you know, I really did like this movie. I mean, I really liked how it actually properly developed the characters a little better than what Joss Whedon did with when he re-edited the movie. And something I really did like is, since the most underdeveloped character was Cyborg, so I liked how he actually got some origins with him. So he actually more had a character in this one. And the same with the villain Steppenwolf. He had more of a character in this one as well. And also like had some like better visual effects, some better action sequences. And like with the 4 hour runtime, like you said, I mean, personally, that didn't really bother me, but I do agree that there were some scenes that didn't need to be in this movie. Like there's the scene where Aquaman swims away and all those ladies start to sing. I felt like that didn't need to be in it.
Yeah, that was weird. The random songs that
was one of the two scenes in the movie I actually really liked.
Really?
That woman sniffing his sweater. I'm like, this is just weird.
Yeah.
This is such a weird scene. And I'm like, but I like that. It's just like so out of left field. Like,
I get
what?
that. I get that, but then like literally before we're not children, you're just poor, and then like you're literally serenading Momoa as he wades out, and then smells like fish. It's like,
The soundtrack was a little strange, like the song placement.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
another complaint I have as well, was the music.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a hardcore Danny Elfman fan. He scored the first version, so I really miss his thematic material from that. We got, I think, Junkie XL for this one, which didn't really have much of a theme. I couldn't really hear, but
Yeah. I mean, the only theme I liked was Wonder Woman's theme.
oh well, yeah, Hans Zimmer, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Mr. Roren, I know you have some thoughts.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, yes, there's a lot in this movie that is fixed. I mean, when the Whedon cut came out theatrically, I absolutely hated Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, and I guess Suicide Squad was also before that, which Snyder didn't direct, but had his fingerprints all over it. I like watching all three of those movies made me want to fucking kill myself. It's like you're treating Superman like trash. It's like I don't know. It's a disrespect of the character of Superman to portray him the way that Zack Snyder portrays him.
Yeah,
And I would say I like, even like Superman Returns, people shit on. I would say it's a much better Superman than Zack Snyder's ever done.
I personally liked that Superman movie.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie.
That's
Because then again, I also really like the Green Lantern movie, so I guess I'm an idiot.
oh no,
I mean, I didn't mind the Green Lantern movie, if we're gonna be honest.
I mean,
Yeah, it was the CGI was weak, but I mean overall I thought it was fun.
I mean,
But
it came out in 2007, so it's been a while for me.
yeah, it was actually the first thing I watched on HBO Max when they threw it up there, and I was like, I'm gonna rewatch Green Lantern, see if I still like it, and I did. And then they took it off because I guess Zack Snyder didn't want any other DC directors anywhere near his big masterpiece.
But I think it would have been cool to have the Bale, Ralph, Reynolds.
Yeah.
Build from there, but it might have been a little too campy.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, is yeah, I mean, all of this really focuses from their desire to make Marvel money.
Mm-hmm.
And they rushed it all.
Yep.
Had they been allowed to start off with the Batman trilogy, the Dark Knight, Nolan trilogy, they would have had a probably great franchise had they spun off of that. But Nolan wanted no part of it. Nolan said, mine is a standalone. It is not part of a franchise. I will not allow it to be part of a franchise. Not that, I mean, I didn't even like the last one anyway, but I think they would have been better off having actually and they could have changed the Batman to Affleck or whatever, because they've done changes before. And I like Affleck as Batman. Like, that's the one thing with these movies. I like the cast.
Oh yeah,
I think the cast is great.
definitely.
I just hate the writing. And this dark Superman does nothing for me.
If they were gonna go that route, I think they should have done it straight from the comic books. The reign and return, the reign of the Superman. No cape, just black with the silver.
Yeah. And they also do this thing in the movies where they're like, Superman appears and pretty much he's not a hero. No one claims he's a hero. He's just some alien wrecking shit in the first two movies, including Bruce Wayne being like, I hate that guy. He's a murderer.
Yeah.
And then he dies. But somehow, after he's dead, they erect statues of him and talk about how great he is. Like, this was the first mention of it was in Suicide Squad. The very beginning, when they're like, the whole beginning of Suicide Squad is about how Superman was a great hero everyone misses. But it's like, there was no build-up or setup to that. It was like, he's a villain from space who killed a whole bunch of people who didn't care about humanity. He's an evil, monster. And all of a sudden, we worship him?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? I mean,
Matt, you're more of the comic book expert than I am. Was that storyline ever presented?
No, because no writer in their right mind has ever made Superman such a shit. Zack Snyder made him a shit.
So you're not a fan of any of his interpretations of the character?
The 3 movies of his Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, the character is, he's the same in the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I will say that this movie is definitely the best of his movies.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that he found a sense of humor, which is oddly enough stuff that I thought that was Joss Whedon's. I was surprised that was actually Zack Snyder writing. Yeah. And Zack Snyder even put in funnier stuff in this cut. I mean, the Flash Wiener scene, love it. I absolutely loved all the stuff with the Flash in this movie. Yeah. And I can't wait for the Flash movie. They're working on it. Zack Snyder's not directing it. That'll be fun. And they're doing Flashpoint, so it'll be interesting at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this movie, I like that it told the story and it went through, properly explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
Because the theatrical cut doesn't explain anything. Even the way they find out about the mother boxes in that movie is so absurd. I don't know if you did you rewatch the theatrical?
I did. Yeah.
How they only find out because Spider-Man kills one of the bug monsters?
No, Batman, not Spider-Man.
Leaves an imprint of the mother boxes?
Sorry, I just imagine Spider-Man swinging in now, be like,
"Oh yeah,
sorry, guys."
Yeah. Batman kills one of the bugs. Yeah, and it's like got an imprint of the mother boxes, and that's how he finds out.
Yeah,
and it's like what?
Yeah,
and just like the fact that like the whole beginning with the end of Batman vs Superman and Scream being the reason that the mother box woke up. It's like at least there's a reason for it happening.
Yeah,
and it's just like I liked the battle scene, the flashback with Darkseid. I like that we at least saw a Green Lantern in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh the Green Lantern is in the original cut.
Yeah, but he's like, I don't think they show him get murdered he does in the Snyder one.
I think we do. We see his ring fly away.
Yeah, but I mean, like Snyder, like chop off his hand, like Darkseid, like chops him in half. So I don't think it's as grotesque.
Everything with Darkseid there.
Yeah, I mean, you got a little more of it in this. Like it definitely like it played better as a film.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed parts of it. Yeah. Overall, I don't think it was excellent. The last 45 minutes were so unnecessary. That epilogue, because there are 5 endings once the movie's over, and that Joker scene. Did we really need that?
No.
We did not need Jared Leto in the first place.
Yeah,
tell that guy to go take a hike.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna back up and reiterate what you said about Ezra Miller as the Flash. I thought he was the best thing in this movie.
Fantastic.
He was the best thing in the original cut.
I thought so too. But I was actually glad that he had more stuff in this one. Yep. And it's like it is cool that Cyborg gets more of a character in this film. But I mean, part of my whole thing originally was why is Cyborg even in this movie? He's literally a Teen Titan. I know, like when they did like the New 52 or whatever it is, that like they retconned or whatever him into Justice League. But like, if they really wanted a black character, we should have gotten Jon Stewart.
That would have been smart. Actually.
Or with Superman dying, we should have gotten Steel.
Which I think, to be fair, I know Snyder did say recently in an interview that he did intend for Jon Stewart to be either a cameo or a part of some way of it, and that's where the studio put their foot down because apparently the Green Lantern as a whole needs another 10 years in the penalty box for their failed movie. Like, I don't know when Warner Brothers is going to be like, okay, we can do. There's a lot of more lanterns. We can do
I'm
lanterns.
surprised
Also the
they let that Green Lantern slip into the into that
Yeah.
battle. But you know, it's one of those things where it's like the movie didn't do that badly that you have to punish the entire Green Lantern Corps to
Mhm.
not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
But as for Green Lantern John Stewart, I think there's also the question of the Arrowverse, because that's how Arrow ended up ending. That the ring came and John, who technically goes by his mother's name, not his father's name, could actually be John Stewart.
Well, here's the
It
thing,
never actually-
Ericka, and I believe I've asked you this on a few occasions, but how did the TV series coincide with the actual films? Do they have
Never. They're separate
crossover?
universes.
Everything
That's why I
No,
call
wait.
it the Arrowverse, and then there's the DCEU, the extended universe.
Didn't
They're-
Ezra
they're
Miller show
so
up in
separate.
Flash?
Yes, but that was because they had the multiverse. They
Right.
also
Okay.
had
A crisis
They
under
had
there.
someone from every single movie and series, one person show up as they went from universe to universe.
yeah,
Right,
like
okay,
that Smallville.
They
and
had
Burt Ward from
they
the
had a
original
Jonah
Batman.
Right.
Hex, they had Bert, yeah,
So
they
Flashpoint
had
is the
Helena
exception.
from Birds of Prey, they had the guy Knox from the first Batman movie, they had Burt Ward play Robin at one point.
Yeah.
So the Flashpoint series or miniseries, that's the exception for having
Yeah, because it's multiverse stuff.
right.
So yeah,
Okay.
but
They
yeah,
had quite
I mean,
the crisis.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Eric, what were your thoughts on the Snyder cut?
I mean, I'm pretty cold on it just because I'm in the same camp where I like Snyder as a filmmaker. I think the man has a visual style that is very much his own, but I cannot handle the way he deals with superheroes. And especially because it feels like a lot of the things that make him creative go away when it comes to I have people who punch hard. And so it's like you look at Wonder Woman, you look at Aquaman, you look at all these characters, and when you put like Aquaman is the perfect example. You put Aquaman in his own movie, that is a bright, fun time. Like when he walks out in that gold armor and he's facing down his Dolph Lundgren on a seahorse with a magical kraken from the center of the earth while he's spear fighting his half brother on top of a submarine. That's cool. And in Justice League, he punches really hard with a spear. Like I know, let's have a final battle that doesn't have a body of water anywhere near it so that the guy whose name is literally Aquaman can do something cool with fish or something. But no, he throws his spear really hard.
Yeah, he's on a rock and the water kind of cascades over.
Yeah.
He's on a ship. He's never in this movie. We don't really see him actually in the water doing battle.
Like there's I think the one fight with Steppenwolf in the battle, and then he's out of the water for the rest of the movie. And it's like all his cool stuff in the water. It's like that's always been my problem with Snyder is these are cool heroes. They do cool things. And all they do is punch hard.
It's funny because what he does with Batman, who should be the one just punching, is most of the fight scenes, Batman's like driving a car.
Well,
like he's not even in the action. He's just hanging out. He's like, I don't have any powers.
And he commits the cardinal sin. He did it in Batman v Superman. He does in Justice League. The cardinal sin of constantly giving Batman a gun. And to me, that is always has been an unforgivable sin. And it's just see him so brazenly just being like, and then like in the Nightmare or with the alien weapons, it's just like this is a gizmo guy. Like I want to see him just pulling out all he wants to throw exploding batarangs, have at it, but this is not a gun guy. This is a guy who's like,
I'll hanging out with him. Like what is this Nightmare sequence is garbage.
But I'll tell you, I did like his use of guns in Tim Burton's Batman. I thought that was well placed. The Batwing.
That wasn't quite guns as much as that was just firearms on the vehicles themselves.
True.
Yeah, no, he had Gatling guns and rocket launchers on that.
And the worst shot in all of cinema history.
Seriously.
It's a great scene.
Oh, it
It's
is.
like a
But
stormtrooper.
yeah. It's like you might want to look into the whole targeting thing there, Bruce. But I mean, overall, I did enjoy it out of all the Snyder stuff because it's his ego on full display. And that's kind of a thing to marvel and wonder at, to like see what what does the Snyder just completely unrestrained look like? And it is a 4-hour just like, what is going on? Like from singing Icelandic people to hot dogs flying in Iris West's face to just Superman trying to flash fry Batman again. Like to even like Superman's back, and the first thing the cop does is draw his gun and try to shoot him. And
Yeah.
And so while it's definitely better than the Whedon cut, it's still not my cup of tea. It's enjoyable, but it's one I don't think I'd ever really go back to, just because it's like, yeah, I'm glad I did it, but I still don't I still am like, this is where Snyder DC ends for me. I don't want to see Nightmare. I don't want to see anything else.
Honestly, if and when I do return to Justice League, it might be the Whedon cut, because just it's shorter. I'm hoping Snyder can some way make this version shorter and tighter with his initial vision intact. I don't know.
It's weird that I would actually like to see him go back and re-edit this one down to a more feasible
It's like, could
level.
you make this actually like a theatrically release? And it's like one of those things, like time doesn't bother me. If Infinity War was 7 hours long, I would still love it. And I kind of wish it was 7 hours long. But this, I mean, because they understand editing. I don't know.
I think it's just the pacing there, because Marvel is more committee based. I mean, it's always used as a derogatory, but I don't think that is. I think that's a good thing. It's what keeps them. Yeah. It's what made sure that we haven't gotten a quote bad Marvel movie. We've gotten some that are we've gotten some that are great. We've gotten some that are really good, but we've never just gotten the stinker, like the, oh God, that's unwatchable. Like even like the ones that I'm not the biggest fan of, I could still watch them.
Same here.
Yeah.
And DC didn't have that. It was always Snyder. And so, and ironically, now that's the Whedon cut was the Warner Brother committee. I mean, we attribute it to Whedon, but it was clear, like, setting aside the general awfulness that he did on the set with all the stuff that Fisher has talked about, and just everything's talked about.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a director on the planet that could save this mess. Like, I can't imagine getting that 3.5 hour production reel from Zack Snyder and then being like, oh God, what are we going to do with this?
I mean, the fact that he had to be like, I have to reshoot things. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, dude, you have 4.5 hours worth of footage. It's like, I still need to do reshoots.
And then you have a mandate from Warner Brothers, like, cut out all the fat, cut out we'd get it down to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And Batman and Wonder Woman just made $1 billion at the box office. Everybody loves Batman. They have to be front and center. Like, push everyone else to the side. It has to be Batman and Wonder Woman in every scene. And it has to be 2.5 hours. And you're just looking like, how do I do this?
Well, again, how the rush totally, because like, had there been a Flash movie and Aquaman movie before this movie, like, Justice League 2017 came out, it would have been so much better, because you wouldn't have to spend all that time telling everybody about these characters.
They did the exact.
That he had to introduce characters.
It was the exact opposite of what Marvel did.
Right. Well,
each character one by one, then having
they rushed it because they were like, "Oh shit, we only decided to do this 10 years after Marvel started. We got to catch up." Like, 2017 is 9 years after Iron Man came out.
Yeah, and I think the problem that you also run into is a lot of these characters don't need their origins. They're enough of pop culture icons that with relative thing, like, everyone knows Batman. Everybody knows Superman. Exactly. Wonder Woman, you can be like Amazon Island. It's like, did you know that Batman's parents got shot and he dedicated his life to stopping crime? Have you ever heard that story before?
It was like Batman's origin and Batman versus Superman was fine because we didn't need, we didn't, and he even gave us more than we needed. He gave us the parents.
The slow motion stuff is a little over the top.
It makes sense when you're dealing with the Flash.
And even at this point, I think the Flash TV show had already been off to a hit, and so it's like people are familiar with these
for many years.
Yeah, and so people were like, pretty much the only character that people are like, I don't know who the hell this is Cyborg. Like, that was your, and so, which I could see
where Teen Titans Go.
And that's the other problem is then you have this character from an entirely different franchise that is famous not for being a founding member of the Justice League, but for being the goofy doofus on the Teen Titans cartoon show, and in the comics being the same way.
I think my favorite cameo, if you will, was Martian Manhunter.
Yes,
It's mine as well.
Very
with
cool.
one giant exception.
Yeah,
I like the scene between Martha and Lois.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, that's
When
great.
she
But then
and
you realize
turns to Martha
she
Man-
wasn't talking to Martha. She was talking to Martian Manhunter.
It was this like great.
Why is he saying this stuff to
great.
Lois Lane?
It was such a good
Because
like.
they're trying to destroy Lois a little more.
Okay,
Yeah, it
and
was
then
like
I kind of
this
wish
great
there was.
conversation.
I
And then
wish
it's
we-
like, I'm a
Yeah,
space guy, and you're like,
I'm
what?
Martian. And then it's like, and then when Martha, actually the real Martha, I hope, shows up at Smallville, I wish Lois been like, wow, you made that trip really quick.
Yeah, right?
Martha could be like,
Are you?
what are you
Otto?
talking about? And I'd never been to Metropolis.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been too much like making a movie that makes sense.
Yeah. And what made it even worse is Manhunter is who I would have had as your new character dropped in to explain this world, because
Yeah.
Manhunter is fantastic. Martian Manhunter is a great character.
And Harry
For-
Lennox
for-
is awesome.
Yeah, for Snyder, he's great because he punches really hard.
But I'll tell you, with Martian Manhunter, he was part of the Justice League of America, or JLA, back in 1997, when they kind of rebooted the comic book series, and he was a core member there, along with Green Lantern, and the rest were the same that we have in this film. So it had a nice feel to the kind of that original style, and also the original. I think Martian Manhunter was part of the original Justice League of America back in I want to say 60s.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I know most stuff, usually he's one of the founding members. I think it was because this one was mainly using a lot of New 52, and I think that's the first time when Manhunter really wasn't a part of the league for a long time.
Okay.
He was dead at that point.
Yeah, that's right, because he died during Final Crisis, and that led into New 52.
I am so glad someone mentioned the music. I was waiting for everyone to be like, "Oh, it's so great," and I'm like, "I hate the singing."
Yep.
Oh, Ancient Lamentation music plays.
Yes, the music didn't need to be there. I didn't feel like Zack Snyder needed to hijack 3 movies to make his preemptive thing to his world-ending desert scene movie that he apparently wants to make. Also, none of you mentioned how he destroyed the only 2 females in the movie and made them submissive, weak, passive, worthless characters standing in the background. I mean, between Lois Lane just laying there and going, and the only time she moves is when she goes to the monument twice.
Well, that's. I mean, I hate
no lines.
in all 3 movies. I hate that he turned the character of Lois Lane into like I need Superman to save me. Like
Well,
that's
she
how.
always needs it, but she needs it because of the fact she doesn't listen to anyone, and she
Yeah.
goes and puts herself inches from death because no one can tell her what to do.
But at least in the Christopher Reeves movies, like Lois has balls. Like Lois.
Yeah.
Well,
And
she's
if
the
you look at
intrepid reporter.
series,
She
the
does
fifth
need to be rescued,
She
but like at least like she's got a head on her shoulders. In
And
these,
this
they
one
kind
is
of like
terrible.
wrote her as like
And-
she's just sitting there like, when's he gonna save me?
Well, does that feel like a downgrade to anyone else from the Whedon one, where it's weird that in
No.
the Whedon cut, Batman was like, "Oh, Superman's going to be super pissed when he wakes up, so I better have Lois waiting in the limo to save me from getting blasted." And this one, it's like it's a
I
good
felt
thing
like
we happen to
that
resurrect him
Chopsy
when
was
Lois
a
goes to the
shock one.
statue.
but he's still following the Snyder's
Mhm.
formula on Lois.
True, she just
But,
happens to be in the right place at the right time.
But as for casting of Amy Adams, I think they could have picked a stronger Lois, in my
I
opinion.
think she could have acted stronger if someone.
I mean, Amy Adams is great.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
Just she has nothing to do, nothing to work with.
yeah.
Well, that's like all these characters. They are played by great actors with nothing. Like Henry Cavill would make an excellent Superman if someone
they
would
wrote it
fucking
to
write
make
the part for
sense,
him.
like you said.
What?
God, strapping him in that black suit. It's
But yeah,
just-
but then
Yeah.
the black suit, everyone was all excited. We're gonna see the black suit. We're gonna see the black suit. He just puts on the black suit. Where did it come from? Why did he put it
Remove
on?
the cape. Be true to the 1993 version.
It's from his symbiote suit, man. It's inside of him.
and where's my cyborg Superman?
I know,
Right.
right?
Got it from
And
the
whatever
Kryptonian
thing-
ship.
Mhm. Oh my
Shaq
god,
comes in as Steel at the end.
a live action Reign of the Supermen would be amazing. I think if done right.
If done right, and that's
yeah.
a hard one to do right.
Yeah. I mean, they did a pretty okay job with the animated version, but I would love to see a live action version of that story.
I'm
But
trying to
The
imagine
one
a
thing
live
that
action
also wanted to
Eradicator.
that'd be
Oh.
awesome.
I found Aquaman was improved. They cut
Mhm.
out all the times he yells dressed like a bat. You do it dressed like a bat, and it's like, thank God that is gone. But overall,
Yeah, he only said it once in this one. I
yeah,
don't
he
know.
says it
I
once.
think it was like Joss Whedon was like super horny for that line. He was like, I want to put it in there as many, or he just was like, well, I have this footage. Let's just take that clip of him saying dress as a bat and put it in his dialogue.
I'm going to argue that was. I don't think that was Whedon. I think that was Jeff Johns, because I read Jeff Johns' Aquaman run, which was good. But in that one, he loved to lampshade the absurdity of Aquaman, like the talking to fish, the kind of the hey man, like so
Yeah,
that felt like
that's nothing
Johns
wrong
came
with
in
that.
for that
But
one.
just the one line that was irrational,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
glad stopped repeating.
I think
And I felt also no one talked about how much Aquaman was improved, not by his backstory scenes, just by the subtle edits and the moments that he got interacting with.
there
everyone.
needed to have been more input from Jeff Johns, I think, more from the creatives at DC, because they do some great work in the comic books. So
well, that's another one of the reasons that like the Marvel films are stronger. They actually have writers who wrote the comics as consultants as writers.
That's the key. I don't know
Whereas
what
DC hires directors who don't do like horror movies. I mean, don't do comic book movies. Or you know,
and don't do their research.
And writers who don't know comics.
Yeah. It has to be comic book writers and or fanboys.
Yeah, like you need the fanboys
to life. It really needs to happen. I'm thankful at least Marvel's getting it right. Maybe DC will wake up a bit, because I mean they promoted this movie with a black and white poster. It's just so bleak.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean by I don't like it when people say the Marvel movies are done by committee. They are, but these are committees made of people who know these, like, you know, it's like Winter Soldier. I don't want to do the Marvel versus DC's thing, but I'm a huge Captain America fan. Winter Soldier is one of my favorite of them. And Ed Brubaker, who wrote the storylines that all the Winter Soldier stuff was based on, was involved in the creative process, and even he got a cameo when Bucky's waking up in the movie, because it's like, and there's Brubaker, the guy who's responsible for why you want to see this story.
And there's a Brubaker Street in the movie as well.
Yeah, and it's like I wish I would have seen more of that, and with Johns, and which makes sense because Johns is a Silver Age person, and so Snyder does not want to do Silver Age characters,
right?
So that you could see the conflict style.
He doesn't seem to want to do any of the characters from any of the age, from the Golden Age, from Earth Prime or newer, for any of them, any of the different themes. He just wants guns hitting, destroying buildings,
his version of what
he wants the new 52 and nothing else.
And Batman never is creative. I mean, I know you talked about how the creature explodes and the boxes magically appear to them, and that's ridiculous. But something about that also shows that Batman is trying to test his theory and build a device and be a detective and problem solve. And there's no problem solving Batman. There's Batman, Alfred, make me something that I can hold up like a shield.
He has zero detective skills in this movie, in any of them. Exactly.
Well, apparently, in order for him to find out that there's a giant a nuclear power plant in Russia that is covered by a gigantic energy shield, he needed Cyborg's dad to superheat a mother box and kill himself in the process before
though he owns
Alfred the
satellites.
Yeah, it's like, Alfred, the bat satellites detected something over Russia. That's probably normal. Let's go find Steppenwolf.
Utterly ridiculous. Yeah, Thomas, I mean, what are your takeaways? What are your final thoughts on this film?
Well, I mean, something I did want to mention before is, like, I did like how the Flash was actually improved in this version, because, like, I didn't really like how in the Whedon cut, when he would use his super speed, he would trip every single time. So, like, he was improved. This wasn't cracking jokes every single scene he was in, like that scene where he goes, "I never done battle. I just push people and then I run away.
That scene, though, it explained his fighting style. He does that to Superman. He does that when he's dodging the Terra demons.
It's not a fighting style. It's just running and supercharging objects.
Well, heck, and he also pretty much helped out the League at the end when he was helping out with separating the mother boxes. So because in the Whedon cuts, like like Superman, like kind of like came right in and felt like they just couldn't do anything without him. So kind of feel like the League was actually working together in this version. Okay, so like I would have to say my final thoughts is I like the movie, but it's like it's not the best DCEU movie, of course, but I do think it's Zack Snyder's best out of all the three he made.
What would you say is your favorite of the DCEU?
Probably the first Wonder Woman.
Yep. Okay. I think I'm in that camp. That was just a almost perfect superhero movie, I must say.
Yeah.
And speaking of superheroines, Ericka, I'm not going to forget you this time. Would you recommend this 4-hour epic to anybody?
No, I would go back to the Josh Whedon movie. I mean, the fight scenes were a lot more fluent and they flowed from beginning to end. It made more sense. And we finally got a cyborg origin, which we almost never do. He usually is already there, and we get a few backstory moments from the Teen Titans plot to where he is in Doom Patrol to even back in Super Friends. So it was nice. But overall, so much of it that I actually enjoyed was taken out to be put in with random singing and hitting and things blowing up that I'm like, I think I just want to watch those 2 20-minute segments here and there and watch the Josh Whedon movie.
Yeah, the visual effects, the CGI is really intense and really over the top here. It's almost obnoxious, but yeah, that's
Well, at least they didn't CGI a mustache this time.
Yes.
of course.
I think we needed more dark side and less of Steppenwolf. He was the problem of the first movie.
He'll pop up again, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, like he was just really there just for like setting up the sequels, which are probably not even ever gonna happen.
HBO, which Warner has already said repeatedly, not happening.
And now the fans have completely turned on them again. Now it's like
that's
what you get.
Get more intense with the protests.
All right, we gave you this. Just take it and shut up.
And you know what? I know it's silly, but Darkseid and Thanos, they look kind of similar.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Thanos basically was made to be that like that's the thing with Marvel is Marvel made everything it made by ripping off DC, but doing it better. That's always been their thing. Like Justice League, like was Stan Lee's. Like he was like, oh damn, I have to do that. I have to make our own Justice League, and then he made the Avengers. I will hands down call Marvel every single time, but
yeah, Deadpool and Deathstroke.
Well, I think a lot of that's also because you have Jack Kirby who did both, and I mean, considering he did New Gods, he did Darkseid and all that after leaving Marvel, so it's like you can definitely see where Kirby influenced both Marvel and DC in that regard.
And they actually, it was a stated fact that Deadpool was actually a complete joke ripoff of because even Wade Wilson is his name. I mean,
Wade Wilson,
which it's like they're like, oh yeah, they did that as like a complete lark. It's
and
like,
some other crossovers. Joss Whedon directed the first 2 Avengers. The second Avengers was also scored by Danny Elfman, who scored the first cut of Justice League. So there's all this overlap, which I love. But yeah, Eric, would you recommend this to people?
It's a weird one because it's one of those things where if you've ever had in the past 4 years, oh man, I wish I could see the Snyder version, this is going to make it better. And everyone who wanted what Snyder's thing, they're going to love this because it gives them more. And it fixes a lot of the character issues. It gives more context. But I think the thing that kind of drives me nuts is even though, yes, Aquaman's better, Flash is better, Cyborg's better, everyone's better, it is still the same movie. It's still Steppenwolf comes, needs Mother Box, transforms, Justice League stops him, the end. And so the overall plot is still the same, even though there's more context, even though Steppenwolf now has daddy issues. And so if you liked Justice League, if you like Snyder, this is going to make you like him more. If you don't like Snyder, this isn't going to change anyone's minds.
It's actually funny that you mentioned Steppenwolf's daddy issues because in the Whedon cut, he has mommy issues.
That's right. I don't care for Steppenwolf in either versions, but at least I don't have to listen to Ciarán Hinds. Mother, where are you, Mother?
Now it's Daddy. Don't kill me, Daddy.
Just tell Daddy I'm sorry, and I want to come home to Apocalypse.
And I think the voice acting in this cut was a little more deeper and more menacing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Steppenwolf was a better villain. It's just he's still, definitely. I'm here for my boxes to conquer, and I can't even believe they even opened the can of worms that is the anti-life equation. It's like, come on, dude, settle down. Mother boxes is enough. You don't need to go into anti-life.
Why can't we just take the mother boxes out and only do anti-life?
Or that's fine too. Yeah. Let's show Darkseid with his dry erase board going, all right, so fear plus despair divided by loneliness. I'll figure this out one day, Superman.
It's funny too, because the Martian Manhunter stuff, like his appearance to Bruce Wayne was shot afterwards. That was like one of the new scenes. And it's like Warner had already been like, you're not getting sequels. And so they definitely had Martian Manhunter be like, so the plans for the next movie, here they are. What are we gonna do? Like,
well, if anybody wants the sequels, they exist. You have to go play Injustice 1 and Injustice 2 on whatever gaming consoles you can find. And that's basically what he was doing.
Life equation.
Yeah, because that's evil Superman.
The finale of Justice League Unlimited pretty much is.
Matt Roren, see it or skip it?
I think everyone should see it at least once. Get it out of the way. Because there are things that are worth seeing in it. Mm-hmm. But overall, like it was already said, it is the same movie.
Okay, guys, so real quick, I want to go over coming attractions for this week. We've got coming up Godzilla versus Kong. Very excited for that. The Unholy, which is a horror film starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan from Watchmen. Also, Assault on VA-33. It's an action thriller. A comedy called Shiva Baby. A thriller called Every Breath You Take. And The Girl Who Believes in Miracles, which is a family drama starring Mira Sorvino, Kevin Sorbo, and Peter Coyote. And also, I wanted to mention our lovely friends at Paramount Pictures. We have some film anniversaries for the month of April. We've got the 40th anniversary of Atlantic City, the 25th anniversary of Primal Fear, the 20th anniversary of Along Came a Spider, the 20th anniversary of Bridget Jones' Diary, and lastly, with its celebrating its 15th anniversary, is Kinky Boots. So those are all coming to Blu-ray and DVD and digital. So check those out, Paramount Pictures. Lastly, guys, I just want to go around and do some plugs. Thomas, is there anything you want to mention?
Well, I could probably mention some new shirt designs from my friend's shirt company, Gutter Garbs. Some new Return of the Living Dead shirts. One of them I'm actually wearing. Okay, I think I'd also want to plug in a friend of mine who's making a Friday the 13th fan film called My Special Boy. So there's an Indiegogo campaign, so you guys can contribute to that. It looks pretty good.
That sounds awesome. Okay, very cool. Mm-hmm. I love the fan films. The one with Jason Brooks was really, really good. Is he in this one too?
No, this one he's not in, but he is, of course, filming a new one right now called Roseblood.
Sweet. Are you involved with that at all? Or
I did contribute to the Indiegogo campaign for that one as well.
Ericka, any plugs today?
No, not today. I mean,
Mr. Roren, Cult Cafe?
Cult Cafe, Saturday nights for the next couple weeks at least before Facebook takes away our watch party privileges. This weekend, I am doing the History of White People in America, volumes 1 and 2, which are Martin Mull films that he did. So it's got Fred Willard, Steve Martin. There's a whole bunch of great people in them, and that's Saturday night, 9:50, Cult Cafe, Not So Secret Society, watch party in the group.
Sweet. And Mr. Godfrey, any plugs? Anything going on?
No, I'm kind of in the pandemic thing too, so I don't really have anything I'm working on currently. But hopefully, this pandemic can kind of get out of our systems, and we can move on to whatever is next.
Well put, sir. Well put. And guys, I just want to mention again, the documentary Hunger Ward. It's actually nominated for an Oscar for Best Documentary Short Subject. And it basically is about starving children in Yemen. Please visit hungerward.org and click the Get Involved button so you can donate to hospitals in that area. You can also catch this episode and new episodes of Under the Radar every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. Eric Godfrey, your first time. How do you feel?
Feels great. What better way than to have a 4-hour Zack Snyder Justice League cut? Best way to break anything in.
Matt Roren, Thomas Pugliese, and last but not least, Ericka A. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone watching and listening at home and on your devices. I'm Randy Unger, and this has been Under the Radar. We'll see you next time. Take care.